बंधु आत्मनात्मनः तस्य येन आत्म एव आत्मना जिता अन अन आत्मनः शत्रुत्वे वर्ते आत्मैव शत्रुवत्. Anybody would like to chant?
Bandhu atmanastasya yena mai vatmanajitaha anatmanastu satruvate vatre vate tatma vai satru svata.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can't see complete verse. I can see only last line.
Are you using the mobile, Mataji? We are
Yeah.
able to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's now it's there. Bandhuratmana manastasya enatmaivatmana jita anatma nastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat.
Okay, let's hear.
Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jita anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat.
Bandhu, friend. Atma, the mind. Atmanah, of the living entity. Tasyaha, of him. Yena, by whom. Atma, the mind. Eva, certainly. Atmanah, by the living entity. Jitaha, conquered. Ana Atmanah, of one who has failed to control the mind. Two, but Satrutve, because of enmity. Vartita remains, Atma Eva, the very mind. Satruvat, as an enemy. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Repeat again. For him who has conquered the mind,
For him who has conquered the mind
is the best of friends.
Mind is the
mind is the best of
friends.
friends.
But for one
But
But
for
for
one
one
who has failed to do so,
who has
who
has
has
failed
failed
to do
to do so,
his mind will remain the greatest enemy.
his
his
mind
mind
will
will
remain the
remain
greatest
the
enemy.
greatest enemy.
Purport. The purpose of practicing eightfold yoga is to control the mind in order to make it a friend. In order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. Unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga for show is simply a waste of time. One who cannot control his mind lives always with the greatest enemy, and thus his life and its mission are spoiled. The constitutional position of the living entity is to carry out the order of the superior. As long as one's mind remains an unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. But when the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of the personality of Godhead, who is situated within the heart of everyone as Paramatma. Real yoga entails meeting the Paramatma within the heart and then following his dictation. For one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord, follows automatically. Om Agnanatimandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sijuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakavitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanto Namasute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhaischa Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavane Bhayo Vaishnave Bhayo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The words again. Bandhu Atmana Atmanah Tasya Yena Atmaiva Atmana Jitaha Anatmanah tu Satrutve Vartita Atmaiva Satruvat. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of the friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So this is a very nice words which describes the purpose of this eightfold yoga system, Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. The whole purpose is to control the mind, right? The eightfold yoga system, starting with Yam, Niyam, Asan, then Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dhyana, Samadhi. This eightfold mystic yoga system, the whole purpose is to control the mind. If one controls the mind, it can become the best friend. If one who is not able to control the mind, it can become the worst enemy. If one is able to control the mind, he'll be completely detached from sense gratification. While one who is not in control of the mind would then, as Sri Prabhupada mentions, will suffer from this lust, anger, avarice, greed, illusion, etc. This 6 main enemies. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita elsewhere in the 2nd chapter we see Dhyato Vishampam Sangate Supajate. Right. Sangate Kaman Krodha Vijayate. It starts by initial contemplation of the senses on the sense objects. In the moment senses contemplate on the sense objects, it develops attraction, attachment towards that sense object. Right. And ultimately lust arises. And lust is always unfulfilled From that unfulfilled lust, frustration arises, and that frustration brings rise to anger. Right? And then we see how a person falls down. Krodha bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama, smriti vibrama buddhinasa, buddhinasa pranashyati. Right. So here, the contemplation of the senses on the sense objects, again, it's from the mind. If the mind can control the senses, right? A controlled mind can control the senses, but if the uncontrolled mind cannot control the senses. Uncontrolled mind cannot control the senses. It's like the chariot of these 5 horses. And the charioteer, the intelligence with the harness is trying to control the horses. But the moment he is not able to control those horses or the reins, what would happen? The 5 senses will go on either numbers, it will numbers drag the person in different directions. And he will be, like in the previous words, Prabhupada mentions, he will be in the mire of material existence. Right. In the material world, he will be completely entangled. Lord it over material nature. Right. One important thing in these 2 verses, Atma is referred as mind. Atma could be referred as different things. Like, Atma is referred, ultimately Atma is referred as soul. But depending upon the context, it can be referred as mind, it can be referred as conditioned soul, it could be referred as the soul, pure soul. Right. So here, Bandhu, Atma refers to the mind. Right. How uncontrolled mind, right, completely covers the soul, right, and makes it feel to lord it over material nature, makes it forget its eternal position. That's through uncontrolled mind, because it's attached to the sense gratification. But with controlled mind, right, which is controlled through this 8-fold yoga system, and that's where this yoga ruda stage of controlling the mind comes. Okay, you control the mind, and ultimately you will get Paramatma realization. Ultimately, you will get the dictation of the super soul within, if you are able to control the mind. So this 8-fold yoga system is initially, it's difficult, and Lord also mentions it's impractical, it's difficult. He's not even encouraging that in the initial verses. But still, I'm going to lay this out for you. And he lays that out, that okay, a controlled mind can become a person's best friend. And we can then get the dictation of the Paramatma within. Now in Krishna consciousness, how do we control the mind? Right? We chant this mantra, Maha Mantra, Iti Sodasakanam, Nam Kali Kalmasanat, Nam, the 16-syllable mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, by which we are focusing our mind to hear this sound vibration coming while chanting the holy name. Otherwise, mind is Chanchala Mana Krishna, it is wandering here and there. Yeah, it is wandering here and there. It so easily gets distracted. Right? But a devotee of the Lord, by chanting the holy name, he brings the mind focused on hearing the sound vibration. Thus is controlling his senses of hearing, the senses of sight, that is thinking about the Lord. So the sight is also on the vision of the Lord, right? The tongue, instead of speaking all kinds of nonsense, gossip, this, that, it's glorifying or chanting the holy name. So the mind, by focusing on this holy name, it's bringing all these senses in control, in service of the Lord. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Uttamam. Right? The senses are then engaged in the master of the senses, Rishikesha. And thus, he is in full, like in the previous words, it talks about liberation. It's complete liberation. Right? A person in Krishna consciousness, by controlling the mind, by chanting this holy name, mantra, right? Mana and tra, one which delivers the mind of all anxiety. This is mantra. And this is the Maha Mantra, right? This is the Maha Mantra, right? That's controlling the mind, right? So one has to train the mind. By constant practice, one has to train the mind. Abhyas yogena kaunteya. When later on, when Arjuna mentions, I can control the wind with my arrow, but I cannot control. Mind is very difficult to control. Chanchalahi mana Krishna. And Lord Krishna says, yeah, you are right. Mind is difficult to control. But abhyas yogena kaunteya, by regular practice, you will be able to control the mind. You will be able to train the mind. So that the soul, instead of being engaged in the mire, in this nascience of material existence, can be delivered, right? Can be delivered. So the purpose is also, it's also mentioned, the cause is also given, that the pure soul is entangled in the material world because the mind is involved with false ego to desire over the material nature, to lord it over the material nature. The material nature is the energy of the Lord, meant to ultimately bring the soul to transcend that material nature. Otherwise, Tibi Gunamai Bhavais, Ebim Saram Idam Jagatam Mohitam Nami Janati. Otherwise, they'll be bewildered. By these three, everybody will be bewildered by these three modes of material nature and will remain engaged. But Devi Hesha Gunamai Mama Mam Durataya. Mam Evaye Prapadante Maya Metam Tarantite. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord by this sound vibration, by practicing devotional service, will be able to overcome. Will be able to overcome this material nature. Right. So, the whole purpose is to train the mind so that it can be controlled. So then the question comes, in what principle one should train the mind, right? So that the mind is not attracted by the glitter of material nature, right? And instead, it is attached, instead of being attached to the sense object, it is detached to the sense object and it is focused, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Vishnu Smaranam. Thinking about the Lord, right? Thinking about the Lord. It is focused on the devotional service. It's focused on the Supreme Lord. Instead of being focused on the glitter of this material nature. Right. Where constantly it is bombarded by sense objects. The senses are bombarded by sense objects. Oh, it's so hot. I need to go out and go to this beach or that beach or that beach or that beach. It's so hot. Right. But a person situated in devotional service, matra sparsha tu kauntaya, shitushna sukha dukha daha. Right. Agama apaina anityam ati. So he sees his non-permanent appearance and disappearance of, of happiness and distress as summer and winter seasons. He is not bewildered by that change. Right. He is not bewildered by such a change. Right. And then thus he is able to practice whether it is hot, whether it is cold, unalloyed. He is situated in performing devotional service. Right. Unalloyed is situated in performing devotional service. And thus, now, the dictates of the mind, which are all these, this that which is terrorizing the soul, lust, anger, illusion, greed, envy, pride, is able to conquer that. Is able to conquer that. Right. So it's very important. This chapter, it discusses about the following of the eightfold process to control the mind. But otherwise, the bhakti yoga process of this mantra meditation, of completely focusing the mind on the sound vibration, right? One controls, right? One is able to control. Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions or discussions on this wonderful subject matter?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhuji, just now in the purport, it was mentioning that when the mind is controlled, right, we can hear the super soul's dictation. So,
Yes.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to understand, how do we feel the dictation coming from super soul? How do we say that, okay, this message is from the super soul and we need to follow that instruction? Because, mind, there are various things coming out from the mind. Ideas comes and thought comes and all that comes, right? So how do we distinguish, okay, this idea or this thought is given by the super soul and I need to follow that dictation without, deviating from the dictation. So I don't know, but yeah.
How do we hear the dictation
From the super soul, yeah.
super soul? We hear the dictation of the super soul by controlling the mind. When mind is completely controlled, right? Otherwise, the mind is covered by lust, and as we saw, these 6 anarthas, many anarthas, but the 6 main anarthas, right? And otherwise, we'll be hearing the dictation of the sense objects, which will be dictated by these 6 anarthas. Oh, it's so very hot. Let me eat some ice cream. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's always, it is generalizing so many thoughts simultaneously. So many thoughts simultaneously. But when it is completely controlled, you're always thinking about the Supreme Lord. Right? It's peaceful. It is no. You will see transformation in devotees where before they had so many problems of controlling anger. Right? And they had to go to anger management, no much special training, this, that. But after becoming Krishna conscious, advancing in Krishna consciousness, they're much more calm and composed. How does the transformation occur? By this secret weapon, by controlling the mind, right? By devotional service. And when the mind is controlled by devotional service, then that inner dictation comes by the super soul. Tesam satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purukam dadami buddhi yogam tam. Right? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Lord says, I impart knowledge from within to come to me. Those persons, tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, who are constantly engaged in performing devotional service to me, I impart knowledge from within to come to me. So when it says I impart knowledge from within, who imparts the knowledge? The super soul. The super soul imparts knowledge from within. Right? The super soul is guiding the person. Before, as such, man proposes, God disposes. Right? Even in normal matter also, to perform any activity, God is the one who carries out. Man is only proposing. God is the one who carries out. The super soul is the one who carries out, who grants, permits. But we are so engaged in lording into our material nature and in illusion that we think, oh, no, it is me. It is all by my efforts that it has happened. Right? We always think in our false ego that it is me. Right? But ultimately, the super soul, even in normal course of action. But what to speak about devotees? But the devotees are the one who recognize that, oh, this is in everything is Lord's mercy. You know, this nice pastime of the king and the minister, right? The king and the minister, what happens? Yeah, they go out for hunting, right? And the king somehow gets bitten by a snake so that the poison does not spread. No, one of his fingers had to be cut off. And the king is repenting and he's asking the minister, what did I do? Why I have to go through this suffering?
Part of some type of an astronomical model. But how could this simple circular
Can somebody mute? Nanesh, can you mute? Yeah.
about the stars?
And the minister said, oh, it's the mercy of the Lord. And the king did not like that. The king did not like that. Oh, no, here I'm asking him something and he's saying, oh, it is the mercy of the Lord. He takes the minister and puts him in jail, imprisons him. Next day he goes without the minister. And when he goes out, he is captured by the dacoits. And the dacoits are ready to offer him to Kali as sacrifice. And when they are about to be, about to offer it to Kali, the priest says, "Oh, you cannot offer this because he has a cut in his finger. He does not have one finger. There's a cut. So you cannot offer this sacrifice to Kali." And the king is freed. Right. So now the king could sense what the minister said. Oh, it's the mercy of the Lord. Even while cutting off your finger, it's the mercy of the Lord. If his finger was not cut, today he would have been sacrificed as a sacrifice to Mother Kali. So, but then he releases the minister from the prison and he tells the minister, "Oh, now I can understand your words when you mention is the mercy of the Lord for me. But you did not do anything. You just gave me words of wisdom and I put you in prison. What was your fault?" And the minister said, "Oh, if you not have, in that also it's the mercy of the Lord. If you not have put me in the prison, I would have gone with you for hunting today. And since your finger was cut, they would have sacrificed me." So in that also, there is a mercy of the Lord. So this mercy of the Lord works in very inconceivable ways. Right. The super soul is always guiding from within. Many times, we want to do something wrong, right? No, it's okay. No, it's, oh, today I'm very tired. Let me watch TV, and then the super soul from within says, "Oh, no, it's why waste time? No, let's do something better." And then so you can sense the struggle between the soul and the super soul in form of guilt consciousness. There's a struggle between the soul and the super soul. But then you say, "No, no, no, I want to do this." And the super soul, "Okay, you bear the consequences. You do it." So even in our neophyte stage, when we can understand that, what about when the mind is completely controlled? In each and every action, a devotee of the Lord sees the hands of the Lord. Right? That the Lord is guiding from within. Srila Prabhupada, when he started seeing reversals in his business, so in that also there's the hand of the Lord. In the Bhagavatam it says, Lord Krishna says to Uddhavji, "To one whom I bestow my fullest mercy, I take away everything from him. So that he has no recourse but full surrender to my lotus feet." Right. That's why in devotee's life you'll see so many trials and tribulations, because through a devotee, the Lord exemplifies the glories of devotional service. Pandavas, the devotees of the Lord, went through so many miseries. Right. But in each and every moment, they took shelter of the Supreme Lord. So much so that when the time came, when the Lord was to go to Dwarka, Mother Kunti said in her prayers to the Lord, "Lord, when we were in miseries, we were always thinking about you. So give us more misery so we can always take shelter of you. And we can never forget you." Right. It's a very advanced stage. Is that all right, Bimal Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion or realization which anybody would like to share?
Prabhuji, can I ask one more question if nobody's asking?
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, when we do the chanting, right, the mind definitely, it goes here for materialistic thinking, sometimes it happens when I chant. I go for a project and I start thinking about a project. I need to deliver the project in this way and that way. So, and sometimes it happens that how do I bring a non Krishna conscious person into consciousness, Krishna conscious? All those thought comes through when I do
Mhm.
chanting. So I don't know, I know Srila Prabhupada's instruction that we have to be very attentive. And that immediately I come back to chanting means pay attention to what I'm chanting. So mind definitely, goes here and there while I do the chanting. So I'm just trying to understand, Prabhuji, how do we see that, the mind doesn't go here and there and we focus on chanting,
Yeah,
sound meditation. I do the chanting loudly also, but, still mind goes out of control sometimes.
that's Abhyas Yogena Kaunteya. So mind is chanchala, so it will do its thing, right? Especially when we are chanting, it would like to go here, there, or as you mentioned, different thoughts will come. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, that project. Because now we are, slowly that clearing stage of that mind is coming, and you are able to think even of material things better. You might have lost your key or something, and you're not able to think where it went. But in your clearing stage, when you start chanting, suddenly your thoughts will come. Oh, now I know where my key is. So the mind is going here and there, right? Or it will be distracted. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, let me look at that WhatsApp message which I posted. Who saw it? Who did not see it? Right? Or that Facebook, or that this, or that this. So many things. Right? So many things. So amidst all this bombardment, we have to bring the mind back to hearing the chanting of the holy name. Right? And there are various techniques given. There are various techniques given. Okay, different thoughts come. Before you take shelter of the holy name, read some small passage, just a paragraph from Krishna book or nectar of the holy name or something. Right? Bring the mind back, that reading of that small passage, or taking the shelter of the Panchatattva at the start, not all the time at the start. Bring it, okay, please help me. Right? And then chant. Try to chant attentively. Right? It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. Right? But a day will come. More will chant, more we are conscious that, oh, while chanting, I'm committing all these kinds of offenses. Still chant to initially, means we are focusing on the quantity, but then focus on the quality of rounds. Just like sometimes we are not finished our rounds and we want to finish our rounds at night, what happens? We just rush through to finish the rounds, right? Or we'll chant in the car, or we'll chant while watching something. Those are all distractive chanting. Okay. But attentive chanting, especially in the Brahma Muhurta time frame, early morning hours, it's very attentive chanting. And that attentive chanting, just focus on the holy name. Or chant in the association of devotees and hear what you are chanting, not what others are chanting, or not what even a tape which is going on or Prabhupada chanting. No, hear what you are chanting. Sometimes close your ears, one of the ear, and see the sound vibration coming within. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that sound vibration comes while no, we try to close the ear, and we'll figure out that, oh, at least what you are chanting is all right. Your pronunciation is not like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, no. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, it's 16 syllable holy name. So all those checks will come when you consciously try for quality chanting. And then your mind, while you're doing all these things, your mind will not go here and there. It will become more focused on your quality of chanting. And then ultimately focus on hearing the sound vibration. In that way, it will help you to control the mind. Is that all right, Beyond Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Very good. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to share something? Okay. So when we are in this mode, we're talking about this clearing stage of the anarthas, kam, krodh, lobh, moho, mad, matsarya, by performing devotional service. Tomorrow is a very special day of this Gundicha Marjana. Okay. Gundicha is the Gundicha temple where the Lord would be taken from Jagannath temple to Gundicha temple in Puri, or from Aishwarya of Dwarka to Vrindavan, Madhurya Vrindavan, by this rope, which is the rope of love, which will be pulled by the devotees. So before you pull the entire temple, because the Lord is going to reside there, is cleaned. The temple can also resemble your heart. The heart needs to be cleaned for the Lord to reside there. He's saying that, we are not able to hear the dictation of the Super Soul. We won't, because it's so covered. So that clearing is the marjana, Cheto Darpana Marjana. The holy name, by chanting the holy name, this Cheto Darpana, the mirror of the heart is cleaned. So similarly, tomorrow is this Gundicha Marjana, or the temple. Gundicha is the temple, temple Marjana, cleaning of the temple. So that the Lord can reside, be manifested in the evening, so that it can be then pulled the next day from Jagannath temple to Gundicha temple, or from Dwarka to Vrindavan. So very important days this weekend. Take full advantage in the cleaning process and then in the pulling process and performance of devotional service. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna Madhupati. It's a wonderful class, lots of insight, lot of details about practicing yoga, especially controlling the mind. So mantra is very important, as Prabhuji mentioned. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Manana Pranana Itiya Mantra. To overcome the mind, only way to overcome the mind. That's it, put it as mantra. That's the way we can overcome the mind. So on the Prabhuji is mentioned that I heard about that even when we chant the mantra, we just focus on one mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Don't worry about, whether I would chant 16 rounds or I would chant 20 rounds, what happens, chant. Just focus on one chanting, that whether am I able to chant that mantra properly. Then each mantra when it comes, it should be in our consciousness, that hear that, listen that, all those. I heard that, I just wanted to mention that. Thank you so much for such a wonderful answer. It's a wonderful way of describing. It was quite profound about how the super soul, play in a devotee's or in anybody's life. It was very, very nice. The story, especially Akbar and the Birbal. So nice. Thank you so much. And today is also a very important day. Today is a Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. Sri Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance day. And many of us observed, because of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we are sitting here. In one sense, so much of revealing the transcendental subject matter in such a wonderful way. There is a book called Jaiva Dharma. So nice. I mean, if you get a chance, please get that book and start to read it. Jaiva Dharma is very profound. It's giving us what a person's supposed to do. So nice. Yeah, Prabhuji is already mentioned about tomorrow. The Undija Marjan, please try to join if you can, starting at 9 o'clock till 4 o'clock. And this is the opportunity, this is the mercy that we get. It's considered as Pada Sevana, it's directly worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna, anything we do. So please try to join tomorrow. Yeah, that's Sunday morning. There is a Shravan festival is going on. His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj is going to speak on the glories of Jagannath Prasadam. So please join. Don't miss that. It's very wonderful. A lot of things to know about Jagannath Prasadam. 17 days Atlantic City Rath Yatra. Don't miss. So everybody, please try to join. And yeah. Okay, I think if there is nothing else, anybody else has anything to, any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I share one thing?
Yes, please go ahead quickly.
Yeah, a couple of years back, when Prabhuji or Maharaj came to our temple, and in his class, he mentioned about the chanting, how to do. And he mentioned like how Prabhupada was doing. So holding that one bead like this, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and then turn our fingers like this. Half mantra you have to say like this. And if we chant with Prabhupada, like we have the chanting that one machine, then we get that feeling that we are chanting with Prabhupada, and then our mind gets focused on that words, Hare Krishna, like each word. So just wanted to share, like that time I heard that class, and after that I started doing with Prabhupada's chanting and moving our fingers like this. Our minds doesn't go here and there. We have to focus on that beat and how Prabhupada is also chanting. And then we get that feeling. Prabhupada is with us and he's chanting with us. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah. One thing to that, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in Bhagavatam, hear the sound vibration of what you are chanting, not what Prabhupada is chanting, not what other devotees are chanting.
Okay.
So no, that's something. Somehow we might get used to a wrong conception that for now when we chanting, Prabhupada chanting has to be there. Prabhupada chanting is there when we are not chanting.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, when we are chanting, we should be hearing the sound vibration which is coming from our chanting, not what Satyabhama Mataji is chanting in the morning or what Prabhupada is chanting in the temple. No, what we are chanting. Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji. But like sitting on the chair and just focusing on Jagannathji, and Prabhupada chanting is in living room, so we can hear what we are chanting.
Yeah,
We
just
can
our.
hear, ours. Yeah.
Everything else, just keep it blinded. Just our
Mhm.
chanting.
Yes, Prabhuji.
When my Guru Maharaj was here, he kind of stressed that also where in the temple chanting was going on. He told me to even get the chanting stopped
Mm-hmm.
because that was not there during Prabhupada's time. It later on start becoming chanting. So which is good chanting when we are in a condition where we cannot chant, like the
Yes.
hospital or this that. Some sound
Mm-hmm.
vibration is coming. Prabhupada is chanting. That's good. But otherwise, when we are chanting, we have to focus on our chanting.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
It's
Krishna.
mentioned that chanting means you are spending the time with Krishna, between you and Krishna, nobody else.
Yeah.
That's chanting.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So thank you so much, Ruri Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. Let's conclude today's session. Let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhasya
Sir, Kripa Sindhu
Sindhu
Devasa
Padidana
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada ki jai.
Ananda Kodi
Koti
Vaishnava
Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Hari
Hare Krishna.